Drunk in Texas wine country. Who knew? A look at the U.S. wine industry by the numbers, and let's talk some really, really expensive wine. And finally, some good news for the wine industry. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello and welcome to episode 46 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, June 2nd, 2025. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey, your number one source for Corkage information. We also have restaurant reviews, winery reviews, wine reviews, and more. All that over at corkandjourney.com. But with that, let's get right into this week's wine news, shall we? All right, Wine Spectator has an article. What's the most expensive wine you've ever sold? A 9-som spill. I guess 9-som spill the beans or spill it on what the most expensive wine was. Prices range from, $10K to $100K to $1,000. They're kind of all over the map. This is really one of those things where if you thought ahead and you brought your own bottle, there's not a corkage fee in the world that's too high when you're spending that much money on a bottle of wine because the markup is through the roof. But big celebrations seem to be the general theme. From the article, Wine Spectator reached out to 9 sommeliers to find out the most expensive bottle of wine they ever sold at a restaurant. They came back with tales of big bottles and big numbers, a World War II victory vintage, and wine flights that broke restaurant group records. See what brought in the big bucks. Interesting article. But again, it's the kind of same thing. A buyer had just sold a company and was in a celebratory mood. So he spent, $20,000 on a bottle of wine. Domaine de Romani Conti, 2007. Little DRC for $25,000. Not surprisingly, it was a celebration for a gift, a wine lover who had a movie premiering. Interesting read if you want to know about people dropping massive amounts of wine on bottles of wine. It is just, in fact, a bottle of wine. Remember that. It's not a house and it's not a car. And it's over with, but it is a memory that will last, well, not really a lifetime, probably just that evening, maybe the next day. But you know what? If you got the money, I guess you can spend it. But interesting choices there. And then over at Eater Austin, we've got a story on Texas wine country confronts the challenges of its boozy boom. This is interesting. I'm not sure that this is... I've been to Fredericksburg, been to wine country, Texas wine country. We've talked about it. And it seems to me to be just like any other wine region. I didn't see excessive drunkenness. It is interesting, though, that in this article, they say that they are second in the country behind Napa in wine tourism revenue. So little Texas wine country is doing better than Oregon wine country. Sonoma, I'm assuming, Paso Robles, Santa Barbara, Washington, the Finger Lakes. Wow. So as far as revenue goes, evidently Texas wine country is a booming. We saw when we were there. There are more wineries opening than you can imagine. So anyway, from the article, famed for its German heritage and rolling hills, Texas Hill Country, best known for its wine. Considering the region's crown jewel, Fredericksburg started with just 3 wineries in the 1970s and has since blossomed, experiencing one of the most significant booms in tourism over the last 5 years, says Brady Clausen, the CEO of the Fredericksburg Convention and Visitors Bureau. Today, the city has more than 80 wineries and generates the second highest revenue in wine tourism dollars in the country, falling just behind California's Napa Valley, Colson adds. With more than 3 million people visiting each year and its designation as the second most visited wine destination in the U.S., residents are feeling the effects. Locals say some visitors are drinking a little too much while visiting wine country. Kind of goes hand in hand. I will tell you that I guess DUIs are up and they've noticed that they've been increasing. They could use more of the little tour buses, more of the trolleys, leaving from downtown, kind of going out on the wine trail and doing all of that. I have a few of them, not a lot. Makes life a lot easier if you do that. People get on the trolleys, get back to downtown, walk to their hotel rooms, pass out, or go drink some more. But anyway, interesting article. Again, to me, the big fascination was just how big Fredericksburg has become. And the wines are getting better. We've talked about it. A lot of the grapes, they're not really from Texas. Halter Ranch is there. slinging grapes from Paso for the most part, but you are getting some really interesting Texas fruit, and some interesting Texas wines are being sold and made there. So, and they're getting better and better. So hats off to them, and figure out your problem with, drunken tourists. And with that, quick plug to ourselves, Cork and Journey. If you don't know, we are, as we talk about, the number one source for Corkage fees. And if you head over to Cork and Journey, you can easily go look up, find out what that Corkage fee is at the restaurant you're looking for. You just kind of type in the name of the restaurant, the city. It's going to search by your locale. It's very, very simple to find. You can basically just go, I want to know what in this city, in this particular city, what restaurants are available, what's within a 10-mile radius of me. We try to make it as simple as possible. We love your feedback. If you find that a Corkage fee is in error, you can just report it. Click on report in error. Let us know what that Corkage fee is. We will adjust it. So I want to thank you so much for supporting us. And just, next time you're about to go to a restaurant, you want to know what the Corkage is, please look it up over at corkandjourney.com as well. Alrighty, and moving on with the news. Wine Enthusiast has an article said, guess what? There's actually some good news for the wine industry. I don't know. I'm glad they're digging deep to try to find some positive news. It's mostly some bullet points, but there is one that is interesting, and we'll cover that here at the end here. But here's the bottom line. The decline is bottoming out. That is good news. Value is booming, and wineries are growing. Not sure about that. Interesting statistics in there. Online sales are rising. Okay, but that's from a decline, but that's good. It is recovering. Growers are optimistic. Optimism is good. And one of the things they have in here is that wine clubs are now allowing new ways of marketing young drinkers. Cliff Family Winery in Napa, subscriptions to their Wine Drop Club let customers choose which wines they'd like to receive, and they've outpaced their traditional wine club by 244%. So I do think that wineries need to completely rethink their wine clubs. We try to rate the wine clubs, and it's really been whatever Tina and I think when we go there. We'll look at the wine club. Is the discount enough? Do you get enough free tastings? But the big one, you will never get 5 stars unless the shipment is completely and totally customizable, because there is nothing worse than just having an entire shipment of wine foisted upon you where, hey, here's 12 bottles. You don't get to choose. We got 6 bottles in here that we hardly sell any of. And when you were here, did a tasting, you didn't like any of it, but we're going to push that on you anyway. We got the reds and the whites. We got the mix. We got all this club. No, it should be, hey, your shipment's coming up. We have only so much that can be allocated around these wines. Please choose. Now, maybe you want to limit. Maybe you can only have 3 of the Cabernet, and you can only have 3 of the Petit Syrah, and you can only have 1 of the Cab Franc, whatever it may be, but let people choose. That will really, really enhance your wine club membership. We talked, I think, a couple weeks ago, we had Laguna Canyon Winery as one of our featured wines, and we're actually using one of their wines in kind of a preserver test we're doing right now. They have a very interesting wine club. I think it's $100 a month, and it just goes into a bank, and then you can spend it how you see fit. If you buy X number of bottles, you get this discount. You buy a case, you get this discount. You're a member, so you get a discount already, and you just let that build up. I walked in there a few weeks ago and had $960 in the account. 2 years worth of that just stacked up in there. We went through, did a tasting of all the wines, hadn't been in there in a while, and ended up spending $960 and just basically chose the wines that we liked, that we were able to taste at that time. Let me tell you, wineries, if you could just really make your wine clubs so that people can customize their shipments, do those kind of things, you will grow. So from that article, that's what I got. That's what I wanted to talk about. What do you think? And wrapping it up, really, really cool article. The National Association of American Wineries released their 2025 U.S. Economic Impact Study. Really, really, really interesting read, a long read, a big PDF, but they have an infographic that really, really tells the story. The wine industry is worth $323 billion. All 50 states are producing wine. There are 10,761 wine producers, and it provides 1.75 million jobs with $102 billion in wages, 74 million tourists, 14.3 $1.3 billion in tourist expenditures, $53.24 billion in total taxes, of which $26.18 billion go to Fed and $27 billion goes to state and local. Wow, that is definitely wine by the numbers. It is an amazing industry. And it provides a lot of jobs. It provides a lot of value. It provides value to the local economy. It provides value to the national economy. It provides value. And so, as I have said on so many shows, hey, local jurisdictions, local states, get with the program. These people are farmers. They're winemakers. There's so much that goes into doing this. It's great to support them. I just wish that, with all the taxes that are collected and all the jobs, I really think local municipalities and states need to get with the program and stop putting hurdles up for their winemakers to be successful. And with that, that's my editorial for the day. Let's move on to the wine and winery of the week. So here is a cool one. This is the Crush Pad, and it is in Las Vegas. Totally and completely random that we found this place. Somehow in my Instagram feed, a little pop-up said, hey, we have 2 openings for our Share a Bottle event. And so I clicked in there and we went out to the winery, and I have to say, it is helmed by Brad and Jessica Dinda. They are a lovely couple. They are both WSET Level 3 certified. And man, is this a cool wine bar. Super knowledgeable, super friendly. You feel at home. There's no stuffiness. And I've never seen a Share a Bottle event before. But, basically the concept is Tina picked a bottle. I picked a bottle. There were, I think, 10 other people. So you had 12 bottles total. Everybody, brought their bottle in and then went through and said, hey, here's this bottle. Here's why I brought it. Here's the story behind it. What do you all think? And they passed it around. So everybody's getting a couple ounces, right? Because you get 12 bottles, got 24 ounces in it. So one bottle's got 24 ounces. So everybody's getting 2 ounces going through, or 1 ounce. Maybe there were only 10 people. But there was enough, especially when you get 12 bottles of wine. Everybody's basically drinking their own bottle. So it was just a lovely evening, and there were some amazing wines. Everybody brought a great wine. Everybody had a great story. And so I have to tell you, it was just really, really, really a lovely. So if you're there, it's kind of out in the Summerlin area, way out in the suburbs. But been to a lot of wine bars and little wine shops. And this one has got something going on. So it reminds me very much, I think one of our other favorite ones is Five Vines in San Juan Capistrano in California. Another great one. Randy and his wife do an amazing job there as well. Maybe husband and wife teams are what you need to actually have a really good, successful wine bar. But shout out to these guys. They did a great job. And we will be going there again, see them soon. So it's kind of cool to find a really great local place. And for our wine of the week, it's the 2016 Ferretti Brunello. This is basically just a beautiful Sangiovese from Tuscany. We gave it a 94-point score. It is $88. It is worth every penny. It's got balanced fruit or spice, just a nice bottle of wine. Just a 94. That's a good score. We don't really normally give them that high, but this was that good. Who knows what happened? But check it out if you get a chance. And with that, let's move on to our restaurant and Corkage of the week. Well, speaking of Fredericksburg, Texas, and Texas wine country, we're going to do Hill and Vine in Fredericksburg, Texas. This was kind of a home-style country fair. Tina and I were out there. We basically dropped into this place, and it's just nice. Really nice food, very unpretentious. Sit down. We had breakfast there. Everything was decent. You can't go wrong. It's one of the more popular places in Fredericksburg. A lot of locals go there. Easy to walk from downtown and very much worth checking out if you are in Fredericksburg. So we gave it 4 stars. Got a $2 sign cost rating right there in downtown. No BYOB allowed. Texas is odd. It's illegal, but it's not illegal. Some restaurants allow it. Some restaurants don't. I think the ones that do probably are breaking some rules, but this is one that's not breaking any rules. No outside beverages, no outside alcohol allowed, no corkage fees at all. So there you go. With that, we're going to wrap up this week's show. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. As always, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube, as well as follow us on your favorite social media application. And with that, we'll see you next week. Cheers.